In other news, Microsoft, with all of the Copilot news that launched autonomous agents for Copilot. And so you may be asking yourself, or the audience out here, what exactly was an AI agent do? What is it? So I thought we would go through a little education segment here, a little science corner here, and talk about AI agents. And so we
Did
can
not
talk
know
about what they're
science.
doing. So here in Coder Foundry, we were actually investigating these. We're trying to write them and trying to figure out, like, where does it fit in the overall development ecosphere? Like, are these a thing? Is it going to take over the world? So there's a lot of them out there. And so in general, if you want, a couple ones called a reactive agent, which reactive agent is like something that goes out and you prompt it and it does something. So we've seen ChatGPT kind of like that. One step beyond that is you take a prompt and then it takes that prompt and it turns it into something, and then it reprompts itself until it gets to the end result. So you're seeing a lot of these, and that's when it becomes more goal-oriented agent. So like find me an airline ticket that goes from Greensboro to Dallas, and I only want to fly direct. What can I do? And then we go out and search some APIs or whatever. Now, the cool thing about these things are, if AI agents are going to become a thing, even though Copilot says, here's a bunch of these that you can just run, these are going to have to be written. Like, there is no magic AI agent that's connecting to everything to do everything. And so, like, some of the ones that we're trying to write is we want to create an AI agent that creates me a meal plan for 7 days that's completely healthy, and then generate the Instacart so I could shop it, go buy it, and then give me the recipes that I could do. That's the agent that we're working on. What we found out was Instacart, you can kind of put stuff in Instacart, but you can't automatically buy it. And so we realized the limitation of AI agents is the actual end result. What can it do and what can it achieve? And so in the AI agent world, we call these actions. And so, like, you have an AI agent that prompts itself. It can get through some goal-oriented things, and it comes to an action. What can it actually do? And this is where thousands and thousands and thousands of lines of code is going to have to be written to integrate all of these actions. And basically, it's also going to integrate with what we call sources of truth, which is like your CRM, customer relationship management. So you're seeing a lot of agents that are saying, hey, we want to do some customer service stuff. And everyone says, ooh, I'm going to go to Copilot right now and hook my customer service stuff up to it. But you've got to integrate it to a source of truth somewhere, even if you have their CRM platform or you have a third party, a Salesforce or whatever. You're going to have to hook it up and kind of like guide it in what it needs to do. Every AI agent overview that you can read about on the internet will always come down to, like, hey, here's the top 7 steps. You know what the last step is, Kevin, for your agent to be successful?
No, what is it?
Human oversight.
Yep. So I have an example.
That's great.
So we have, so like I've said before, I am the head of support for this company, right? And we have a ticketing system, and the ticketing system also has like a chat portal, right? And I've programmed this chat bot that, like, with different prompts and things like that of, like, okay, they say any form of this question, respond with this, blah, 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 blah. So I programmed extensively this chatbot, right? Well, I opened up my chatbot because every day I log in and I check what the responses have been given. If there's wrong ones, I like remap them and things like that, right? So it was like, ooh, look, we have a new AI bot that you can, set up and use. So I was like, okay, let me see how good it does against, like, what I've already programmed. And so I turned it on and I connected it to our FAQ. So it has a ton of, not an FAQ, but our knowledge base of all of the, like, things that my chatbot already, like, pulls from. And I asked it, like, very specific questions that, like, I know there's a KB article on. And every single question is like, let me get somebody to help you. It didn't answer any of them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you are worthless.
So I think one of the things we're seeing in development world and our world here is that people, for whatever reason, are saying, I want to interact with a program through chat. Mm-hmm. So this is what ChatGPT is really good at. Like, you can write any kind of query whatsoever in a chatbot, and it'll roughly figure out what to do. The magic of an agent is to take that command and connect it to an action for it to actually do something, which run a query, run a SQL query, run a service or whatever. The other agent that everyone's talking about is controlling machinery. So like if you have IoT sensors and you've ever been in any kind of manufacturing environment and watched something being made, they have all these sensors on these like conveyor belts or whatever that have streams of data and streams of information. And so that's the other type of agent where people are looking at streams of consciousness coming out from something and making decisions on things like that. So if you have a lot of mail going through the mail system and suddenly you see lots and lots of packages going to Anchorage, Alaska, maybe you can turn around and go, hey, we might need to get some more trucks on later in this because there's a lot of mail going to the North Pole around Christmas for whatever reason.
Weird.
So like those are the types of agents where it's autonomous and it works towards a goal. And they call these utility agents, which is like, look at the constant stream of consciousness, whatever it's coming from. And I want you to make sure that my house always stays at 72 degrees. So I look at thermostats, I look at whatever, and it can adjust the thermostat up and down to achieve that goal. And so those are the types of agents out there. The cool thing, what I've been telling people from loud, far, and wide is this just means there's another boom coming. If we do write all of these agents, and this is the way apps are going to get built, there's going to be a lot of coding jobs going forward. So I don't know what you think, Paul. What's in your world about AI agents?
Oh my goodness. I'm glad you asked. So I did tell you about this application that I will not mention on this radio because I mentioned it in the last stream. So you have to watch the last stream if you want to see it. That's paid. There's an open source version that allows you to build workflows, and it's called N8N. So I'm going to start using that to build different AI agents and things. That's the first one right there. And so you could self-host it. And that's the part that's awesome. So you basically just responsible for whatever other services you use, like OpenAI, whatever. But you could basically self-host this, and you have this visual builder type of thing, which allows you to connect different things and create different automated workflows, including agents to do cool stuff. And to me, like, because I work at Strapi, open source company, like having another project that's open source, that's amazing. And I suggest anybody who's interested, like, and you are a developer or not yet and thinking if you should be a developer, definitely play with some agent workflows and build cool stuff. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be spending my weekend. I can't get to the weekend fast enough. I'm like so excited. I'm like, come on.
So just to confirm then, something like Jarvis is an AI agent, right? Because it can take action. That's kind of the point, right? Am I thinking about that right?
I would classify Jarvis as like a collection of 10,000 agents that are all running to do different things.
Yeah.
So, but the interface or the dream is I want to chat with her. I want to take a voice input, and ChatGPT is really good at that. So, example in Iron Man 1 where he asked it to put a little hot rod red on the armor or whatever. That is him chatting with an AI bot that is also integrated to some kind of manufacturing environment on the other end that can kick off some processes to paint his armor, assemble it, and put it together. What I'm saying is, if that's going to become a reality, that manufacturing part has to be coded. It has to be developed.
Right.
The front end piece is a reality, is there. You can talk to an AI right now, and it will understand what you're saying and try to turn that. And if it prompts itself, it can turn it into. What AI agents are doing is taking a singular prompt, and the rough ones that are going to be built right next are saying, okay, look, what if I need to do something in multiple prompts? What if it takes multiple prompts to do something? And doing that inside of ChatGPT is kind of like arduous or time consuming, or I'm not really good at it. That's what these workflows, what Paul's talking about, do really well. It could take a prompt, turn that into something, reprompt again, turn that into something, reprompt again. It gets down to, okay, I need to take an action now. And then it can run a physical service or run a physical query and then turn around and display that back to the end user. That display part, weirdly enough, given today's technology, the things that we have, is still like a web mobile, or it could talk to you back sometimes, but mainly we're going to say, show me the fourth quarter sales results or something like that. And it's going to have to display that. And a lot of times you still have to write those UIs. Now with Meta, when they have a glass that can come out that can talk back to you and then display some other things, we may write new UIs, which again, what I keep telling people is like, the quicker these screens change, the more opportunity is for people to learn how to code and build things. Because all of these things, if we have a true AI or AR glass coming out, you got to write all that code. I mean, it's not going to be generated in any way, shape, or form. So,
Right.
Bobby, where can they learn to code?
at Coder Foundry for sure.
Oh.
So, coderfoundry.com.
Shameless plug. I think there's another opportunity here too that is kind of overlooked, or maybe I think people are working on this too. But
Yeah.
the transactional part of this,
Mhm.
when money changes hands. So I want my AI agent to be able to not only go and tell me this thing is available on Amazon at the cheapest price, but I also want it to buy it for me.
Yeah.
I want it to take an action. I want it to purchase it. So I've got to somehow give it like the right to be able to purchase it for me, right? The permissions to be able to purchase it for me. So that's going to be interesting. Like, how does it access my money, and does it have like untethered access to like my financials? Like, do I want to go that?
Do you
far?
want
I
to
think-
give
Maybe not.
AI untethered access to your
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Maybe not.
Until it does have access to money, these agents will always be limited. And then will Stripe do that? That's the problem. And my answer is probably going to be no.
You think that somebody new is going to take over this?
Somebody else will do it and allow you to create a segmented AI wallet or something like that, that you sign about 10,000 contracts over to, that says like, you're responsible for this money.
Bitcoin, right? It's going to be all in Bitcoin.
Could be.
maybe.
Could be
Maybe
reason
this
why.
is the use case for.
Yeah,
like,
it's use case for
yeah.
Bitcoin or the use case for Ethereum or something like that. So,
Yeah.
for
maybe
sure.
maybe this is tied to crypto. Somehow.
But right now, when I was telling you that when we integrated with Instacart, it was like right away, they said right away, our API does not support payment transactions. You have to go on our website, be authenticated to do the transaction. We can make a cart for you, but you can't check out, you can't buy it, and they're not
do you
supporting
think that's
any kind-
related to like potential
Fraud.
fraud? Yeah.
Well, they're on the hook if these
Yeah.
things happen. And so like, they also don't want a bot to go out there and order 100 million cases of water and
Yeah.
send it
No.
to somebody's
Yeah.
house. To
You're
be
right, because
funny.
it could.
Right.
So, and then use someone else's wallet to do it. So that's kind of what could happen,
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting problem, isn't it? It really is. I think you're right, though. I think whoever solves that problem is going to be
It's the next Stripe, the next
a
PayPal.
very rich company.
Mhm.
And I'm sure PayPal must be looking at something like that. Somebody like PayPal have to be thinking about that, being like, do you have an AI agent wallet?
I mean, right now, it's easy to do. Like, you could absolutely do that. They're just not going to, they don't want it to happen yet because the guardrails aren't there. It's like when they had the Zoom going out, or was it Zoom or Loop, whoever it was, buying houses, and the AI bought every house. It just was like, oh, you told me to buy houses. I bought them all.
Right.
Oh, Zillow.
And they're like, how much money did you spend? All of your money. Do
All
you have
of
some
it.
more? I'm
That's what
just
I'm
buying
saying about,
houses.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But maybe it comes back to your original point that the last thing on the checkpoint is still a
Human intervention.
So maybe the
Right.
human intervention is still at the very last thing. So maybe you don't want the agent to autonomously purchase something.
No, you
maybe you
wanna
want the
confirm
agent to
it.
say like, "Hey, are you sure you want to purchase this?"
Yeah.
You want to confirm it, push a button or something, and you have to put some kind of guardrail in place, I think, initially.
For sure.
Because the fraud is too great, especially if you're hooking these things up into corporate accounting systems where it could send an invoice or it could pay a bill or it could do something like that. It could easily get tricked into writing all the money out to a certain vendor or something that's not on the list. But it could you could enforce Sarbanes-Oxley. That's the other thing it could do, and say, make sure every transaction comes through is on this list, those kind of things. But we'll see. I do think it's going to be a wave of development. I don't know if it's big as web development started out in like 2000 when that happened and everybody was building a website. I don't think everyone's going to build an AI agent, but for certain verticals, as Paul's saying, like content creation, workflows for social media posts, those kind of things, 100%. Tier 1 customer, is that what it's called? Tier 1 customer support? Who's the first line of customer support? What's the tier? Is that?
Yes, tier 1. That is the
Okay.
that is the first line of support for sure.
So I think tier 1s could be like impacted by things like this, where it could just answer questions right away. The other thing, Kevin's right though. What if people don't like the AI? What if they just want to talk to the human? I know that I do that when you go to call the cable company. You're just like, zero, talk, I don't care. I've
Yeah.
already rebooted the router. I've already done it, and you keep hitting the zero on the thing to bypass the whole thing.
In my chat bot, that's it. Like it. Do you want to speak to an agent? Is like literally on every page of the chat bot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it has to be, and we've
Yeah.
already proven this out with the fast food thing. Like
Right.
people stopped going to the fast food restaurants that were using the AI because they got annoyed by them. They're like, I just want to speak to somebody. I don't want to
Yeah.
do this, and they
Yeah.
quit going. So that got like killed straight away.